What's going on, everybody? My name's LeakyTapsMan and this is yet another wishlist video where I tell you guys what I'd like to see in the sequel to an established game series, and this week I'm going to go for Killzone 4. Now, probably like many of you, Killzone really got on the map when they showed that amazing tech demo for Killzone 2, but the game is so much more than that and it turned out to have really quite stunning gameplay. So it established itself as one of the better first-person shooters this generation, in my opinion. But that's not to say it's devoid of improvement. It can definitely benefit from certain features and ideas which I will detail in this very video. And one of the main additions I would love to see is proper online co-op. It is pretty much a given for a first-person shooter to have online co-op, and the exclusion from that feature in Killzone seems like a giant omission, especially when you consider the fact that it's got local co-op. So just 2 players online, that's all I'm asking for. I think 4 kind of makes the game too easy and almost ruins the teamwork element. Or alternatively, specialised co-op missions akin to the likes of Uncharted or Battlefield. But definitely some cooperative online play to have a bit of a change of pace from single player and competitive multiplayer. Another thing I would love to see in a sequel to Killzone 3 is some form of Helghast gameplay. I think the Helghast are absolutely fascinating. Maybe it's because I'm British and maybe it's because the Helghast sound a bit like Wade Barrett, but they are really the stars of the show in my opinion, so I'd love to see some gameplay from their side of the story. And I know how their numbers are depleted now, almost to the point of extinction, but if games and movies have taught us anything, that unless you completely kill off your enemy, they will come back and they will come back stronger. So they could combine with another colony and basically take some major revenge on the ISA. I'd also like to see much greater character depth, because particularly the protagonists just felt like generic meatheads and they didn't seem to have a whole lot going on. It's hard to empathise with people that basically just seem like idiots or just don't seem to have many relatable aspects. It might seem like a relatively minor thing, but having relatable characters can really make a difference and have a lasting impact beyond the game. And considering the situation that the PlayStation 3 is in, I would like Killzone 4 to be a launch title for the PlayStation 4. Now, I mentioned about how the Killzone 2 tech demo kind of showed off what the PlayStation 3 could do back in 06 or 07, whichever it was. And I think Killzone 4 could have a similar impact on the PlayStation 4. Guerrilla Games really squeezed the PlayStation 3 for all its juices, and I am incredibly excited to see what they could do with next generation technology. And the fact that Guerrilla Games were not at E3 in any real capacity suggests that maybe Killzone 4 is actually coming for the PlayStation 4. That would be my guess personally. So hopefully that's a reality. In terms of multiplayer, not a massive deal needs to be changed in terms of gameplay. I thought it was all really quite good and it separates itself from the likes of COD. Some suggestions I would make is putting the multiplayer back to 32 players as opposed to 16. I much preferred the large scale battles that we saw in Killzone 2, and obviously having the maximum at 32 obviously lets you still play 16 players, but it gives you the option to go that bit further if you wish. I'd also like to see the server browser back from Killzone 2 as well as matchmaking from Killzone 3. Just basically expand our options. Incorporating both of those systems allows you to play competitively if you wish, or choose the maps that you really want to play. So that's definitely something I'd love to see. And also a minor inclusion for Bot Zone, where you play against AI enemies. I'd like to see guests in that. It's a good way to get your friends involved without going online and basically getting their asses handed to them. It's a minor addition, but it could make quite a big difference to a lot of people. And something else I would like to see is the addition of collectibles. Now, I know this might be quite divisive amongst a lot of you, and I agree that collectibles can be a pain in the backside, but hear me out. I'd like to see collectibles that don't affect trophies. You don't have to go out of your way to get them if you want to platinum the game, but make them so that if we do find them, we can view stuff like concept art and design work, Easter eggs, stuff like that. Because to me, Killzone is an absolute technical marvel, and I'd love to see like the development aspect behind it. I imagine they have some really cool concept art, some behind the scenes videos, just Easter eggs that let us go beyond what we see in the game. I think Halo does a great job of this with their terminals, where you can read more into the story and you can read the lore behind the actual game itself. So I think Killzone would do well to emulate this, because beyond the technology itself, the story is actually quite fascinating and the characters are, so I'd love to be able to read more about it. But again, I'll reiterate that that should be entirely optional. And finally, just a quick minor thing, I'd like to see the campaign be a bit longer, just because I felt Killzone 3's was a bit too short. Nothing too brief, but it felt like it was over too quickly. But all in all, those are my suggestions for Killzone 4. They don't need to reinvent the wheel with the gameplay, I think it's very solid, but with all those additions and tweaks, it could definitely propel Killzone into the likes of Halo, into the likes of Call of Duty, where it can be considered one of the absolute big hitters. And as always, I'd love to hear your suggestions, because you guys always come up with some superb things that I never even fathom. So as always, thanks for watching. If you could like the video, that would be exceptional. And if you like this video and the style of videos, I do have a wishlist playlist where I've done a lot of other games, so be sure to check that out, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.